It is a beautiful day to draft some best ball teams. Also, a beautiful day to give away some tickets to the Drafters Championship. On top of that, we're going to talk about players that we can't stop, won't stop, and that we are ALWAYS drafting. So let's get it. Let's jump into it. Let's draft over here on Drafters. Let's go. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are a little off-center today, but I'm renovating a little bit in here to see some different looks on my setup. Not that you guys care. What you guys care about is drafting best ball teams who we're overexposed to. But before we do, we're going to give away 2 tickets today here on this stream to the Drafters Championship. We'll give them away at the end. We'll do a wheel spin. So make sure you like this video and in the chat, type in your Drafters username and Spike Week in all caps after, and that's how I'll add you to the wheel. So do that right now so that we can get you on the wheel if you are interested in drafting and winning a ticket to Drafters. In the meantime, let's go ahead. Yes, not 1, but 2, because I'm feeling generous. I'm not the heel. I'm the nicest. Some say I'm the nicest guy in all of fantasy. I don't think anyone's ever said that. Kind of a dick. But that's fine. We'll get through it together. Let's go ahead. Let's get our draft scream. Draft scream. I just watched a horror movie, obviously. Let's get our draft stream fired up. And let's jump into one of the main event drafts. And get into it. It's very quiet without, we need 8 more. Let's get some music. Now let's start getting some of your names in. And I want to know who you guys cannot stop. This is probably going to be way too loud. Yeah, let's go ahead and turn that down a little bit. All right, I'm going to start putting these names on the wheel. Oh, you guys are firing. You guys are firing already. What do we need for... All right, let's get you guys on my wheel. On my wheel that we will spin twice. Ant, Exwald, DeLudo, Robert, Griffin. I should have really been set up and just done it the way that Eric does it, but I'm committed. I hope you guys are in the Spike Week draft. If I know, Spike Week, nice job, Tebow. Self ADS 827. I got Pius on here. Do I have Tebow time? I don't. All right, Tebow, you're on there. I got the list up to date. I will double check it. We're like 2 or 3 people away, I think, from drafting. I have my wheel starting to be built here. I'm just going to double check to make sure I have all your names so far. We're only putting you on here once, and once whoever wins will get taken off the wheel for the second spin. That's how we're going to do it to make it fair. SPIKEWEEK. B Kurt's ready for some hot takes. I don't know. I feel like the draft board's easy to decide who you want to get overweight on. But that's just me. Need a couple more to jump into this draft. Let's get it on Drafters. Jump in. And let's just talk about some of the players that you guys are overweight on. as we get into this. Well, Mox refuses to chat on YouTube, Tebow. But I sort of get it, because if you're doing the whole like TV thing with YouTube, chatting isn't easy. So that is what I think is going on with Mox. So I'll allow it. But he limits himself to tickets. Who am I to say where you should and shouldn't chat? More chances for you guys to win the tickets. Need 3 more, I believe, to fill up this. RGT with the first name, saying that Omarion Hampton is the guy that he is significantly overweight on, and I love it. Omarion Hampton is a guy that I have to look at my exposure to him, but I'm trying to be overweight on him. I'm trying to be overweight on all of the Chargers pieces that I like. So that is a great one. That is one of mine, one of the guys that I'm attempting to be overweight on. We are in here, and it is a friends and family draft for sure. We are drafting out of the 9 hole. I got to get this projected ownership off of the screen at some point in the future. This is like a good, this is good for later in the draft season. I don't like it earlier, so I'm going to remove that in the future. But our first one here is what we have in this particular draft. And some names that I don't like having zeros on, but there are some names that I like being overweight on. I haven't gotten a lot of early draft slots, as you can see here. A lot of my drafts are from the back end, so, which is fine. We are 14 drafts into the Drafters Championship, and I'm sitting at 8% Jamar, 0% Justin Jefferson, doesn't feel great. Sadly, 0% Bijan, 0% Saquon, 23% CeeDee Lamb, been pulling him up. I'm back and forth on what I want to do with Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not going to draft him at the moment, but that might change. We're at 8% Malik. And perhaps we are too high on Nico Collins at 54%. But that's fine. I want a ton of Nico Collins. So if we're talking about guys that I can't stop drafting, I am 54% Nico Collins at the moment. And I don't apologize for it. I think he's a great click. I've loved moving him around the draft board. I can obviously bring that down somewhat, which as I draft more, get some more early draft slots, I will. But clearly I've been drafting from the back end of the board early in these drafts, which is fine. But that's one of the ways that I like to get overweight on a guy, is to pick one of the late first round guys that I like, sort of figure out who I'm fading early, and make that guy someone that I move around. So I'm going to be doing that with Nico. I'll probably do that with Brian Thomas Jr. as well, and sort of see what sort of teams I can build. We do see Chase, Jefferson, Bijan, Lamb, Barkley go. Pretty standard to start. And I actually like drafting at the back end. That's why you're not hearing me complain. Obviously, we'll get some of our 101s and 102s and 103s in the future. But for now, I do like drafting at the back end of the board. We are on the clock right now. We have not drafted Amon-Ra in this one. I don't think I want to draft Amon-Ra here. We're clearly very overweight Nico. I think what I want to do is I'm going to draft Brian Thomas Jr. at the 109. And we're going to try to see if we can get a unique combination with Brian Thomas as well. Well, that's a problem with our brain, Pius. Like, I think we all sort of have those problems. where like we knew where they used to go, but we have to sort of Men in Black memory wipe ourselves after every season. That's how you have to approach 2025 versus 2024. It's like you just, that flash of light, everything evaporates, and then whatever's on the board is what's on the board. Moxie going with Drake London and AJ Brown. That's a fun combo. That's one that I've been wanting to get. I also want to mix Splat, those two guys. So we're on the board here. And we're sort of looking. We could do Lad with Brian Thomas. That's only getting done about 3% of the time. I do want more Achan overall. I'm at 15%. I'm at 8% Lad. I think I want to do an Achan team with Brian Thomas here. Let's do that. Let's do an early running back. Let's do Brian Thomas. Let's do Achan. It's only looking like it's being done about 4% of the time right now. So pulling up Brian Thomas allows us to do Achan. Not opposed to doing Lad there as well. That's something else I'd want to do. The draft scream. That is going to be round 11 when my team's already murdered. That's what we'll do. No, Adam Sandler calling out Derrick Henry does not scare me. It's fine. I think I'll survive. I think I'll survive the Adam Sandler thing. But shout out to Derrick Henry if he gets into an Adam Sandler movie. All right, I just want to remind everyone, just in case anyone's getting here late, if you haven't given me your name for drafters, I'm giving away 2 tickets today to this tournament. So give me your name and write Spike Week afterwards. Give me your drafter's username to make my life a million times easier, is what I'm asking. That is what I'm asking for. We're going to spin a wheel at the end of the draft. We're going to give away 2 tickets. So this is your chance to win a free ticket to a $20 tournament, which I want to put my own name on the wheel. I want more tickets. More guys that we can't stop drafting. I'm probably the most overweight Terry McLaurin guy there is at the moment, 23%. He usually falls in the drafts I'm doing, and I don't mind getting a fallen Terry McLaurin and stacking with Jaden Daniels. I'll take it. I don't love him, but like he's fine in the range that he's going in. Although I might pump the brakes a little bit because I feel like there's going to be a lot of Terry McLaurin FUD over the next month, and he's probably going to get cheaper on drafts. So that is one thing I've been noticing lately. Guys, I'm not overweight on Tyreek Hill. I will have 0% Tyreek Hill. I made that decision last year. I felt good about it, and I think it's just all done for Tyreek. But if you are drafting Tyreek, I've said this a few times, I think you should be overweight. JSN is projecting 0% with Brian Thomas Jr. and 4% with Devon Achan at the moment. I mean, are there really going to be very few Brian Thomas JSN teams? I guess sign me up if that's the case. I'll go ahead and take it. And just to look on the different scale, as much as I love Lamar Jackson, there's a ton of BTJ Lamar teams that are happening with 18 and 10%. Sorry if I keep going over this, but these are the things that I find fascinating. How can I draft players that I like differently than the rest of the field? Yeah, I'm trying to, okay. So that was going to be my next point, is since I'm fading Tyreek, I am trying to make a point to be a bit overweight on Achan and Jalen Waddle. So I think that's something that I've done well in the past, but also I've done poorly in the past, where I haven't leveraged my fades enough. And I think that's something I want to make sure that I'm doing consistently, is leveraging who I'm leveraging who I'm fading. So like right now I've decided to make a fade on Mike Evans. And I haven't been drafting Ibuka, and I think that's something I need to course correct immediately. So that is something I'm well aware of my drafts, that like if I'm doing X, I need to be doing Y. And I'm going to be making sure I'm doing that. Unfortunately, Vanny takes DJ Moore. That is another guy that he's probably the guy that I am highest on versus the field. Like I just love DJ Moore a ton. And I think what I would like, I think 4th round Kyron is just really hard to pass up on here. I think I'm just going to do it. If you're going to give me 4th round Kyron, I'm going to take it. Andrew is asking the combination percentages, that only on the drafts you have done. Thank you, Zeus, for the hack comment. Mikey, I need your... Jason, I put you in as your name. Let me fix that. Okay, so I need your drafters username followed by the word Spike Week so that I know who we're trying to give the ticket to. So Mikey Boy G, if that is your... I need your username as well here. Like Kevin, I'm gonna have you in here because you are Louisiana Lightning, I guess. Did you spell that right? Because that's breaking my brain the way that you have Lightning spelled here. I'm gonna put it in as you have it, but Jesus. That is breaking my entire brain. Someone is asking about my combo percentage. Let me get Mikey's name in on the list here, and then I'll go through what I have up on the hacker in 1 second. I'll show you what I have loaded up for today. So right now, if you look at my draft hacker, this first number is just what I've drafted in this specific tournament for now. So Kenneth Walker, I have 15% of. My next one is how often I've drafted with my first RB, which I want to change. I keep forgetting to change my drafter setting. So like this is all needs to be fixed. I've updated my DraftKings. Don't worry about any of these yellow ones right here. This here is our projected ownership, which I also need to get rid of. For now, it's much more helpful in August for late round guys. And what we're going to be focusing on is these last two again, which my last two numbers, it's the projected ownership with round 1 and projected ownership with round 2. So it sort of takes all the drafts that we've done and shows the percentage of time that these players are getting drafted with either your first or second round pick, not just yours. We've talked about Waddle. We can make this bet on Miami. That's someone we can grab here. So I do have 23% Waddle, so that is a guy that I am trying to be a bit overweight on. The projected ownership is relatively high for these guys, but we're so unique overall. It's going to be higher because it's a teammate with Achan. If you were trying to get unique, Mixon would have been the guy to take care. We're only showing a 3% ownership with Nico at the moment, and 6%. I mean, not with Nico, with Brian Thomas, and 6% with Achan. So that is one way we could have done that. But we'll just make the Miami bet right now. Did I get Alex? Let me see. I did not get Alex. Yeah, I think Pickens is a fine pick. I would have taken him here because I haven't really taken him in these drafts yet. I've taken him on DraftKings a bit more, which there's no rhyme or reason to that. It's just the way these drafts have worked out for me. But I would have taken him there. Olave is the guy I like a ton. I really like Olave. And I think this is a good time to take Godwin, honestly. We've talked about that Mike Evans fade that I'm going to have. So I want to be grabbing the other pass catchers. So that is what we're going to do. Cameron's getting plenty of Mason, Shipley, and Gibbs. Yeah, I don't hate any of those. Mason's a guy that I don't know. I was overlooking at the beginning of the draft season, and now I'm trying to make sure that I catch up and get overweight on Jordan Mason. Shipley, I've already been overweight on. Gibbs, I'm underweight on. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with that, because I either want to be 0 or overweight, I think, on Gibbs. I think Gibbs is potentially the best fantasy player in the pool. We've talked about him sort of having the ankle weights on with David Montgomery, which is true, but that dude is just capable of games that very few other players are capable of. So the fact that he's not like a 101 or 102 and I can sort of move him around, he might be a guy. He might be the one running back I take and sort of get overweight on. Yeah, I wouldn't even hate moving him up to the 1 or 2 spot sometimes as well, Cameron, to get some different combinations with Gibbs. But that's the other thing when you move players up. I think some people don't move them up properly. And what I mean by that is when they move them up, they're still taking them with players that they would have normally taken them with at like the 105 pick. And sometimes you got to grit your teeth and just bear whatever's there that you can get a unique combination with the player you move up. Yeah, I don't think there is a Gibbs bear case overall. I mean, the bear case is he just loses touchdowns to Montgomery, which is like a lazy bear case. It's a true bear case. But even when he's losing touchdowns, like he's just so explosive. The better bear case for Gibbs is just the front half of the draft is stacked with like wide receivers that you just might need. So if you're looking at it in that aspect, I could see that particular case. I'm gonna grab Swift, I think. So I really like Downs as well. But perhaps we have too much Downs. Speaking of guys, we can't stop drafting. I have 46% Josh Downs right now because I think he's undervalued, and I'm a big Josh Downs guy. And I just click Josh Downs all the time. I think he makes a great 4th or 5th wide receiver on your team. Did you put your name correctly down for the giveaway? I have you as No Cap Mac. So that is what I have. Let's hope so. I mean, we'll figure it out. It's close enough, right, that we can get you that. Sure, but we have to. So, okay, we'll read that question out after our next pick, and I'll sort of explain my thought process on that a little bit, because I do have a thought process on it. Do I have Hawkinson at all? 8%. Hugely drafted. I think Ayuk is a terrible click in this tournament. I have no Baker. Let's set up Baker here. Let's do that. I haven't drafted Baker a lot in any tournament, so let's go ahead and grab Baker, stack him with Godwin. I think that's fine. I agree. Clear number 1 on the Colts. Andrew has 30% downs on where you are handshaking. South says, if you think about playoff week upside, 0% seems bad. And I don't disagree with that by any means, but look at this first round. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Bijan, Lamb, Barkley, Gibbs, Puka, Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Nico, Amon-Ra, Drake London, AJ Brown. You could make that case for any of those players. And I know Gibbs is like overly explosive. Look at his week 18 last year. It was insane. But the way I like to play this game is I like to get overweight on these first round picks. And if you want to get overweight on first round picks, you have to make sacrifices. Some are easier than others. Gibbs is the one I'm struggling with the most. I'd love to have more Bijan. Bijan going at 103 is tough. I think Gibbs dropping to where he usually drops in drafts makes it an easier click for me to get some Gibbs exposure. Bijan is probably going to be strictly like eliminator picks for me if I decide to play that tournament this year. But overall tournaments, I'm just drafting wide receiver in round 1. I've just made that decision. That's how I'm starting. And then which wide receiver am I fading right now? It's basically been fade the running backs, fade Amon-Ra, move around the board the rest of the way. And I've been pretty fine with that. What are my thoughts on QB this year? What's your preferred strat? I'm a 2 QB guy overall. I think 80 to 90% of my teams are going to be 2 QBs. And the way that I draft, I think, God, do we want to get into this conversation today? Do I want to get into this conversation today? Because this is going to be a lengthy conversation, I think, with a lot of input from others. I think that one of the flaws that people that draft 0 RB teams and hero RB teams do is I don't think they draft enough elite quarterback. I think when you're drafting 0 RB, it's to strengthen yourself at other positions, potentially the other 3 positions overall. And I think that a lot of 0 RB drafters gravitate towards going strictly elite tight end and not differentiating their 0 RB builds enough. And I think it's a massive leak in the community. So I tend to course correct on that myself, because I think that's another way that I can get edge on other people that like to draft the way that I do. And I tend to take more elite quarterbacks than others because of that. Now, whether you think that's good, bad, and different, totally understand. But I think that when you're trying to do a strategy, you should be looking for the edges in that strategy. And I think elite quarterback is an edge when you're drafting 0 RB teams, personally. I don't have a lot of Evan Ingram overall. And I think I want more. Let's grab Evan Ingram. So I think we might do a second draft next week, Berserk. I was thinking about that today. I have some stuff I want to get done today. I want to get a closet cleaned out before it gets too hot this summer, and I think I'm going to do that after this. I did find something amazing. I pulled it out today. I almost wore it on stream today, but I think I'm going to wear it for the next stream that I do with Eric. I found my throwback jersey that I love, so we'll wear that on the next stream. Shaheed is a guy that I don't have enough of. I think I would like to take him. Let's go ahead and grab some Rashid Shaheed here as our 5th wide receiver. But yeah, I think that quarterback take is worthy of a longer discussion in the future. I think it is a consistent problem when we're talking about how people draft in best ball. And I'm not saying this exclusively for like people that believe in 0 RB. I think it's just a general problem overall. When you have a draft strategy that you like, you tend to find like-minded people with that draft strategy, and then you sort of start to pull your brains together, and all of those teams start to shake out the same. And I'm not even saying just players, I'm just saying structurally the way that you start to do it, where people will be like, I like to draft a robust RB. So that means that I'm drafting 3 out of my first 4 running backs in the first 4 rounds, which means that you're still sort of gravitating towards the same player pool. Then I like to draft this position and X position, and it's just sort of like a paint by numbers thing that a lot of drafters do. So if you like a strategy, I think you should look at that strategy. How is the general field implementing that strategy? You should still do that, but how can you take some turns and make some of those teams different than the rest of the people that are drafting that way, right? And it just, if you listen to content, including myself, we like to do things a certain way, but there is so many different ways to make this unique. And I think that gets lost in the 0 RB strategy more than any other strategy, where like you're going 0 RB to strengthen yourself at other positions. And I just think it gets lost way too much. I'm going to be hammering Godwin a little bit more. I'm not going to go crazy because I want to get because I'm like really big on the Tampa running backs as well. So I'm going to have a lot of Tampa exposure, but I'm not going to be concentrating it just on Godwin and Ibuka. It'll be Godwin, Ibuka, it'll be Bucky Irving. I'll have some Rashad White. I'll have Sean Tucker. I'm just going to be mixing in my exposures. And Tampa might be more of a one-off team than a stacking team, is what I will say. All right, we are on the clock again. I think we can just go ahead and wrap up quarterback by grabbing Trevor Lawrence here. These are interesting numbers as well. We can see that when Brian Thomas is drafted, 35% of the field is drafting Trevor Lawrence with him as well. So I still want to get that stack on occasion, but I don't want to rely on that stack every time, right? Like, so when I draft Brian Thomas, we talked about this a little bit the other day, me and Eric. I think that what some people do with certain wide receivers is that they have a tendency to mentally stow that they're going to get quarterback X to go with their first wide receiver if they draft one in the first round, sometimes second round. And I think that you should break that habit occasionally. I won't have a lot of Baker either because of the price. I don't even dislike Baker. But yeah, overall, that's why I'll have Tampa stacks, but I won't be overweight Tampa stacks. I'll probably be underweight Tampa stacks, or I might have like Godwin / Bucky or Godwin / Sean Tucker. Those are things you might see from me, but I won't be heavy on Bucks like stacks. Also, shout out to Jesse for all the music on the stream. All right, we are on the clock again here. We don't like any of this. We're going to just grab another guy that I can't stop drafting. One of my favorite clicks on the board. He's getting a bit higher now. But God, do I love Trey Benson. I'm at 46% right now. But as you can see, he's only 6% with Brian Thomas and 4% with our second round pick, Devon Achane. So we'll take Trey Benson and we'll say thank you. I'm going to try to make sure that I didn't miss anybody on the wheel here. I think I got everybody. Did I get Alex Amador was the last one? I have him. Again, we're giving away 2 tickets in the Drafters Championship after this draft. Make sure that you write in your Drafters username and the word Spike Week after. Try to do Spike Week in all caps just so it draws attention. I do miss comments every once in a while. Jay Andy is saying, with the rise of best ball content creators, there's definitely been a rise of groupthink amongst us sickos. It's become an echo chamber of shared player takes and optimal strategies. I agree with that to an extent, to a heavy extent, I would say. Sotobot. You are on the wheel. I think there is a heavy rise in content creators this year, which is good. Overall, I think it's good for the space to have more content creators in here. I'll be perfectly honest, I can't watch all of them. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to write in everybody's names. I can't watch everybody. I see clips, I see like little things on Twitter here and there, and I think it's good overall. I just don't like when they're, I don't know, maybe I'll just keep my mouth shut. I got you, Vapor. I am the KY. Cool. Favorite structure this year? I don't have a favorite, to be honest. It really depends on, like, each draft is different for me. I would say that I'm generally sticking to 2 quarterbacks. Generally, I'm on 2 tight ends, sometimes 3. Very dependent on that. Let's go ahead and grab Jalen McMillan. Just complete a Tampa double here. I don't think that's terrible. But yeah, I think it's... I hate saying which one is my favorite when it's just really dependent of what I'm trying to do on that particular draft. But like I said, I'm probably 80 to 90% on the 2 QB thing. Sometimes I'm going 8 or 9 running backs if I really load up on wide receiver early. Then I'm just like taking as many shots at RB as I can. So could be multiple different things there. We're gonna pass up on some pieces that I oh my god, Vanny. What are we doing? What are we doing, Vanny? That's fine. I mean, it's not like I'm not gonna lose my mind because I lost out on Brenton Strange, but Jesus Christ. All right, let's take Garenda. I have 23% Tyler Algier as well. It's another guy that I can't stop drafting, but I do want to be like even keel with Garendo. I think this team makes a lot of sense to have him. And again, I'm fading CMC, so Garendo is a guy that I should have some of. It just seemed like a silly pick for Brenton Strange there. Jesse makes phenomenal beats. He is good. You can find him on Spotify. Link is in the description if you're looking for like some just chill music, good music to listen to. Helps immensely to have a friend that makes music. Tebow loves doing the Andrews Likely double tap at tight end on drafters when he has Lamar. I don't even mind doing it without Lamar, to be honest. I love doing it with Lamar. Don't get me wrong. I'm doing that. DJ Quill can't stop drafting Ray Davis and Jordan Mason. I need to get more Ray Davis. I need to course correct there. Or I might have already missed. Like, I've been drafting Ray Davis. Don't get me wrong. I haven't not been drafting Ray Davis. But more seems better. More Ray Davis seems like a better thing than not. We got to name some of these songs too. This one's named Jamar Chase. We're just naming them after players, but this one that's playing now. Yeah. I mean, well, we had that huge report versus here saying that Raise Rise is starting to happen. Past your drafts have been pulled up 30 picks. We're getting the Schefter reports about James Cook. And I wonder, so this might actually be the time to pump the brakes on Ray Davis, because I'm going to be honest, I can't see James Cook holding out, be idiotic. And once he's back in training camp, I just don't know how long that's going to take. Davis will fall again. So I think we want to proceed with caution on that, because the price is going to come back down. Yeah, exactly. Versailles Cook will play. Players have no leverage. I've been sprinkling Ty Johnson in RGT. He's a 20th round sprinkle for me. I'm actually shocked that he's not drafted more often than he is. We know that the team likes to use him. We saw how they implemented their players last year. So I think it's more than fine. Gesicki feels fine for a second tight end here. So we'll just go ahead and do that. I actually probably could have pushed tight end here. This was probably a mistake, like a micro mistake, where first guy behind us has 3 tight ends. Tebow has 2, even though they're both on the Ravens. And Moxie has Kittle and Kincaid, so he should be done. That was probably a micro mistake on my part to not push Gesicki, try to get him around later, and then take someone else that I wanted. But might not be terrible. Yeah, I don't disagree, Jason. It's just how high is Ray Davis going to go? I'm not saying you can't draft him still. I just don't know how far up I want to push him. I'd have to really look at the board to be completely honest. All right, so no other tight ends go. And I think I'm just going to complete a huge Tampa stack, which is something I'm not doing a ton of. I was considering making this a 3 tight end team. I think I could get away with Ingram and Gesicki, but I'm sort of fine grabbing Kadon with Baker here as well. Having Baker with Kadon and Jalen McMillan. Don't mind me, I can't talk today, and Chris Godwin. So making our mega stack sort of there. We do have a skinny stack with Thomas as well with Lawrence, so I think that's fine. Yes, I do. I am the KY. I think that if you're drafting Andrews, you should be. I think when I draft, my personal take on Andrews is I think that he's fallen too far. And when you draft him, I think you have to draft him as like he's one of the more undervalued pieces on the board. So I draft him. The only time that I do 3 with him is when I take him with Likely. I will tack on a very late 3rd tight end. I don't think you need 3 with Andrews, personally. I think it's okay. Again, I don't think we need to lock ourselves into hard rules on that, but I think it's more than acceptable to start Andrews. Your draft, and I think you sort of make Kelsey's tough. I'm just not drafting Kelsey. It's just tough for me to say that with him. But if you're doing this Hawkinson, Ingram, Andrews range, you're drafting them as though they're undervalued, right? Like that's the way I look at it. You're drafting them as if they're undervalued this year and they're going to play above their draft spot. So that's sort of my thought process on that. What's going on, Benny? Yeah, and I think, Self, if you are drafting Kelsey, you should make that case as well. I think it's perfectly acceptable. This is going to be the last call for the ticket giveaway. We're in round 17. So if you are looking to be on the wheel and you haven't given me your name yet, put your drafter's name in the chat and write Spike Week afterwards so that I know that you are putting yourself on the wheel. All right, what do we have here? We have 5 RBs, 6 wide receivers. We're done at QB. We're done at tight end. 3 what's left on the board. Been wanting more Devin Neal. I don't think I've taken him at all. I think A.O. Manor is going to move up draft boards this year, is what I'm going to say. So I've been grabbing some A.O. Manor, I.O. Manor, however you would like to pronounce it on Tennessee. Every Tennessee clip I see, and I take everything with a big grain of salt, seems like he's part of it. Tucker going in the 17th round. I don't understand what my neighbor is cutting grass right now. He doesn't have that much grass. How it's still happening is a mystery. Okay, what do we want to do here? Well, let's just go ahead and take him. I'll take I.O. Manor in the 18th. And I'll be fine with it. I feel like I have one of those wide receiver rooms that looks fine on paper, and then you're just like, how is he getting 20 points from most of his guys every week? Because they just score tons and tons of points. All right, I got people giving me more names. Kid Presentable. Super John. ONG. Look at me. Nolan, did you misspell that? Did you go ONG or did you mean OMG? Let me know. Oh, I'm sure no one can hear it. I can hear it though, and I'm just shocked because I know how small it is. I have some lawnmower cutting, some grass cutting stories from my youth. The short gist is my grandfather had a lot of grass to cut. He had a push mower and he had a riding mower. And he would get me to cut his grass every week, and I wasn't allowed to use the riding mower. So I had to use the push mower and cut his grass for about 2 hours. And what drove me insane is he would take a folding chair and just set up in whatever section I was doing and watch me cut the grass. And it drove me furious. To this day, I hate when people just sit and watch me work. That's why I stream, I guess. I don't know. Maybe there's a correlation there. No, that's different, but it drove me insane. But RIP, my grandfather was great. Funniest guy that I ever knew. King Drafter. I'll give it to you, QB1, even though you didn't follow instructions. Yeah, no, my grandfather, yeah. It was infuriating. Infuriating. All right, we got 2 picks left. Let's I don't want to take that much Tesla, do I? Maybe. We're going to take Tesla, I guess. '20th round is interesting. There are some guys that I do like, but I don't want to lock myself into constantly taking the same players in the 20th round. Oh, perhaps we just scroll to the wasteland. I think this is a good time to take Ty Johnson. We talked about him. I do have 8% of them in this tourney. I think we'll take Ty Johnson. And that is our team. We went with Baker and Trevor Lawrence at QB. Devon Achane, Kyron Williams, DeAndre Swift, Trey Benson, Garendo, Devin Neal, Ty Johnson, Brian Thomas, JSN, Jalen Waddle, Chris Godwin, Rashid Shaheed, Jalen McMillan, Io Manor, Isaac Tesla, Evan Ingram, Mike Gesicki, and Cade Otton. I think I would have liked to swap Tesla out on this team with maybe MVS, to be honest. I think that would have been a better way to construct this team. Let's see. I'm going to try to make sure I'm not running another one. I see that question a few times. We're not going to run another one. I'm trying to make sure that I got everybody's name in here. I got King Drafter. All right. Let's pull up our wheel. And you're going to have to excuse my wheel because I am going to use my Hometown Ghost Stories wheel that I have created. But we're doing this for Spike Week, obviously. We have everybody on the list. That is all done. We did last call. We are going to click. We are going to spin. And let's do it. Our first winner is Tebow time. So congratulations to Tebow time, who won $1 million or close to it last year. We're going to remove him from the draft, from the wheel. God, can I talk today? And we're going to do one more wheel spin and we'll give away. Oh my God. Oh my God. The wheel is going round and round. Who will it stop on? Nobody knows. And we have, ooh, it's going to be close. Andy G. Bears. Andy G. Bears is our other winner. So I hope you gave me your right. I know Tebow gave me his right name. I'm writing down Andy G. Bears now. But yeah, so that is our winners for the ticket giveaway. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I will try to make sure you guys get those tickets as soon as possible. Just give me a little bit so I can get those over to you. And if your name is not directly Andy G. Bears, you're gonna have to get back to me, and we'll figure it out. But until next week, I'll catch you guys later. Peace. You would think that I would have the outro loaded, but I didn't. Here we go. Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there, you can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.